a pro. He is going to come up and be our first presenter. So just click there and it should pop up.
Great. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Randy Tullos. I've lived in the community over 20 years here in Maryland. Just love the community. My wife works as a kindergarten teacher. My sons grew up through all the schools, Turner and Dawson, and one of them's at U of H. And so I just love this community. I'm actually not necessarily a handyman. Actually been in food service for over 30 years. I've run some of the largest restaurant groups that you've probably eaten at. Papados, Cisco Foods, Luby's, Fuddruckers. The last one I was at was Salada Salad Kitchen. I was VP of Operations, President of their production. Created production facilities. The largest was for Houston ISD. I created a facility that was 212,000 square feet. So in that end of construction, I'm really good at it. I could build you 100 restaurants. I could build you a production, but in terms of residential, I didn't have that much knowledge. And so my son, who carries my name, Randy, you know, as any son is, strays away. And so he strayed away, I kicked him out. He found himself, he apologized for all the craziness, and he came back to live with us and really wanted to do well. I said, okay, let's find something that we can do together. He didn't want food service, which was natural for me to open a restaurant and then him work there. I thought that would be just, you know, an easy play. But he really wanted something new and different for both of us. And so we researched for over 9 months and we found this franchise called Send Me a Pro. Very easy, all of it can be done out of a cell phone. And so my son, who's 25 years old, and I are venturing into this. We did all the training, we started at the first of the year, and it's actually been really scary. I've had teams of people that did things for me, like accountants and marketing and all that stuff. I would just go into the meeting and give out orders and they would just do whatever. Now I'm the person that has to do all that, and it gets scary, especially trying to start a business. And many of you know starting a business is really difficult. I think what leverages me is I take the same traits from food service, that professional, that honesty, and bring them over to the restaurant group. And so I started this with my wife, Elvia. She's the kindergarten teacher. And really from food service to business, building systems, teams, consistency, and it's a family business. And because I just love Pearland so much, I go on jobs. I like to talk to the customers. I like to understand what is going on with their home or with their project, to be able to discuss those things in detail. And then I have the same relatable issues. So they'll say, I have foundation issues. I have foundational issues. I have roof issues. I had roof. And so I relate and they relate to me. And so usually one job, I was at a young lady's house and she had just one little thing to do. After we talked, it actually turned into 16 projects. That's taken us 3 weeks, including we built them an outside kitchen patio for them to cook for their retirement. They were both retiring. And so that's the part of the business I really love, the communication, the understanding of what their projects are. This is one of my production facilities here in Houston. Basically, we were making salsas for Taco Deli. If you're familiar with Taco Deli, they're out of Austin. I got them a contract with H-E-B and Whole Foods, and then we started producing their products for them, and then started selling them. We did it to many, many other groups. But I basically turned from this, where I was managing 300-400 people, to now myself and my son. And so in this short time, we've done remodels, we've done make-ready homes. Actually, on make-ready homes, I was just amazed at the connection. I'm an avid pickleball player. And so I had a friend who finally realized what I was doing. She said, you need to call Cynthia. So I called her when I was sitting in the car, and she just said, Randy, I manage 125 houses. I could give you that contract. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. It's incredible how God knows. But we've done make-ready house, so if you're looking to sell your house and you had a realtor come in and do a checklist of the things that need to be done, we come in and we do them at a fraction of what anybody else is going to do. We'll do a whole painting of the house, 2-story, for under $2,000. So we do paint, tile, drywall. The biggest one that's coming around is the HOA compliance. There's actually a subdivision called Quail Run in Missouri City. We put some signs. And we've overwhelmed because the HOA, some of you live in those areas, will adopt them for a variety of different things. So we'll come in and we'll do the paint and the fence and all that stuff. And we do both home and business. And then we do maintenance. So if there's a building that needs a maintenance list, we actually go in and we actually do the maintenance list. And then we do some plumbing. Why handyman service? Really, when looking at it, talking to friends, and you probably related this, is really a lack of reliability. Who's actually going to do the job for me? Poor communication. When is this guy going to actually show up? Is he going to show up at all? Inconsistency in work. I've heard horror stories where people are giving half the money, and then their guy takes off for like 2 weeks, and it comes back, hey, I'm ready to finish the job. I'm like, where's the communication? Where's the consistency? Reliability in operation, and then trust, and then follow through. So these are some of the jobs that we did. This is a 20-foot ceiling. We actually put an 8-foot chandelier. So we had to create a scaffold all the way up. And so we've actually done 6 of these. Complete changing of the front door. This is a patio that we actually just broke up, and then we built a brand new patio for them. We do complete tile floors. And so besides, the trusted professionals, all my guys are at least 10 years or more in the handyman service. Clear communication in terms of what we're going to do, how we're going to do it. I usually get on site many times to talk to the customer about the process of what we're doing. Quality of practice. We want to make sure that we're doing high quality work at a fair price. Usually I'm about 20% less than most people out there. And then just guaranteed results. If you have any problems, we guarantee the work for over a year. So what I come here.
So your 5 minutes are up.
No, and this is the last slide. I'm looking
Somebody
for.
asked him about the slide, right? So start in on questions. Go ahead and finish that up, and we'll start in on questions.
Yeah. So what I'm looking for is really, I need quality people. That's the hardest thing to find. I do a background check, and a lot of people don't pass background checks, or they don't have the quite experience that they say they do. Really, lack of leads and new opportunities. I've told you about. I'm looking for anything. I mean, I'm struggling to find, customers to serve, and so really trying to find those in some way, and then improving my communication skills and process. So that's my last slide.
Questions?
Yes.
Do you have boundaries of where you travel to?
My territory is Missouri and Galveston County, but I really haven't left Pearland.
Okay.
80% of my jobs in Pearland, Alvin, Manville, and Friendswood. I will venture out.
Okay.
I'm sort of in it. I have actually 13 jobs, a lot of small jobs. And they don't really pay the bills, but I do it because it gives opportunities to something else. So a lady called me last night, she had a small stain in her carpet and wanted to see if we could dye it. I called one of my guys and said, yeah, we do that. I mean, she doesn't even pay anything, but the opportunity is maybe it'll lead to something else, so we're gonna do that today.
Sure.
Anybody else? Yes?
So you were talking at one point that, you just got that little text and you might secure this. It sounded like it's mainly you and your son, so how many employees do you have? And like, if somebody does come to you, is there like a long wait list or?
I have 8 independent contractors, handyman, and they're all professional over 10 years. And so they send me their availability at the beginning of the week. And so usually I don't take a job knowing that one of my handymen can do it. And usually within 24 hours, we're on the customer site, listening to what they do, creating, the process, the material list, everything that needs to be done. And then we work with their schedule. So if they say, hey, I'm not ready to do it for 2 weeks, we wait 2 weeks. Or if they say, I need it done now, then we try to scramble to get it. Really finding the workers is the hardest part.
How do you differentiate yourself from Angie? Because everybody knows Angie.
Uh-huh.
And how do you differentiate yourself? Because it sounds kind of like Angie, but then it's different. How is it different exactly?
Big time difference. So you call Angie's or on your app, Angie's, who are you gonna get? You're just gonna get an app. They're gonna send you information. Here, the phone rings to me, nobody else. My son and I actually share the same phone number, so if I don't pick up in the third ring, he automatically picks up.
You ever say, hey, this is Angie?
I say, hey, this is ready, how can I serve you? And they tell me what they need, and they think at first I'm a bot. No, I'm real. What do you need? And he says, I'm gonna have this problem. Okay, I live in Pearland right here. I could come over, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Oh, really? That's how I'm different, personal service.
It sounds like you're sourcing the handyman, right? So who's doing the quality control of the project? Is that you, or is
Yes.
that the handyman that you brought in?
Well, he's doing the work and I'm supervising the work to make sure it's done right with the customer review and whatever the work needs to be done, yes.
Okay.
So when it comes to your agreement with the pros, the contractors, is it like, do they come in and say, oh, this is my specialty and so this is what I charge, right? Because like a contractor situation, or do you say, okay, this is what I'm paying is like a percentage per project or anything like that?
Sure.
How does that work?
So depending on what their skills are, you know, some people can do certain things. There are certain skills that are really hard to do. And so they charge a little bit more for whatever those skills are. But it's really a partnership between me and these independent contractors in terms of we look at a project, we try to figure out what the process is, and then we figure out how many hours, how much we need to charge, what the material cost is, and then we present that to the customer. So our usually labor rate could go anywhere between $35 to $65 an hour, depending on whatever the skills is.
That's pretty good.
How do you market your practice?
That's been tough. A lot of people call me, and I still haven't figured out all of marketing. I do a little bit, and what I'm starting to get now, I'm in my 5th month, is I'm starting to get a lot of word of mouth. People say, good example, Diana lives right down the street from my in-laws. She saw the sign in the yard, and she went over to talk to my in-laws. She says, yeah, you gotta hire Randy, he's great. So I saw her. We're actually gonna start a project on Monday. This was a lady that wanted something small, now it's turned into a massive project. And she was talking to her nephew, says, Randy is such a wonderful guy, you need to come. And so it's word of mouth, and to be able to be there with those customers, I think. And that's really what I want. And of course, we're with my mentor over here. And so he doesn't market at all. All of his leads come from word of mouth.
And if you don't mind, one question a little bit separate. So it's a big transition working for the company and starting your own business. What did you see was the biggest challenge you faced, you know, like when you started the business, and what do you see the potential of like going through this transition? Because I know like it's stressful. I've been in your shoes, you know.
Correct. It is extremely stressful just because I'm doing everything on my own with my son. You know, I used to have a black full head of hair. But and actually I turned 62 in a couple of days, which is great. It's a completely new career in my older age. But yeah, it is stressful. It is fun, but it's stressful. And obviously the part I love the most is dealing with customers. I really love to understand what's going on and then be able to do that. Now, I have to preface it by saying is I'm still in the food service business. I actually represent a company in Europe out of Barcelona called World Gardens. I am the U.S. representative, and I just got 2 major contracts with them, one for Saladas, one for Fadi's restaurants, and we're now into Cisco into 3 houses, and my products are going to come in. We just purchased a warehouse in Port of Houston, and our products are going to come in and it'll flood into the United States. We have these fantastic products. Salmon for Norway, juices from Peru that we specialize. And so, though I love this business, I'm going to actually transition over to my son so I could actually focus back on the position that actually pays my bills.
So, you're saying you're looking to improve communication process, if I understand. So what are, like, specifically in that are you looking to improve, or do you need help?
I think is the triangle between me, the customer, and the handyman, making sure that everyone understands what they're gonna do. And my son tells me this, I'm too nice of a guy. I had a handyman normally reliable, but he started a job and then he said, I can't continue until next week. And of course the customer is upset because the job is not done, it's halfway done. And I got upset with him but how do I communicate? I don't want to yell at him or say something that he won't, because he's a good guy. And so I have to be diplomatic about it and say, look, Alan, that's not the way we do things. Commit to 2 days, commit to 2 days. I mean, unless, but something happens to him or something like that. So it's really that communication piece between the customer and myself and the handyman.
I heard you say your guys, you pretty much have 10 years or more experience right now. Is that set in stone? I'm asking because I'm about to post this on my Facebook group to see if people know handyman or looking
Yes.
for.
It's not in stone, but I really want to see where they have the skills. I have this handyman who works at NASA, and so sometimes when I feel like guys aren't quite trusting, I'll say, hey, can you talk to this guy? And immediately he'll fish them out whether they can do the jobs, like floating drywall. That's a specialty thing that you got to know what you're doing before you do that.
You talked about improving communication, and you talked about how you really enjoy the personal connection with your clients. And I've hired a contractor in the past. We talked first, but on the first day, he showed up first. Then when the handyman showed up, the three of us did a walkthrough, and he
Yes.
wanted to make sure. So do you
That's a
do
good idea.
that?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yeah. Every situation's a little
I
different.
wasn't sure, if the connection was there, because it sounded like it was first you, then them.
Every situation is a little different. Some people just want a quote over the phone, so they'll send me pictures and stuff like that, and then I'll give them a quote. Hey, it's $325 unseen, but I have to go out there, and then they agree. And then usually I go out there with my handyman, we walk the property, and then we give them a firm quote with the materials list. If they agree to that, and then we figure out a schedule, and then we come back on premise to do the work. And then usually I come in various times to make sure the job is done correctly.
Do you prefer smaller jobs or bigger jobs? And like, for example, like my wife and I, we moved last year, and we, remodeled the entire house. Like, are those types of jobs you're interested in, or is it more of like, hey, let me just do paint, or is it, hey, I'm gonna do paint, I'm gonna do the bathroom, I'm gonna do the floors, I'm gonna do the exterior, I'm gonna do the concrete, I'm gonna do everything?
Usually the sweet spot for me is between $800 to $2,000, yet I just completed my first $2,000 job.
Okay.
But it really took a lot out of me because I was constantly there and following up on these guys and the rain forecast. This is the patio that we were building. And so the sweet spot is between $800 and $2,000 is ideally perfect for me out there. But I'll take on anything. And then I have trusted friends that could come in, really the expertise to help you with the projects.
Got it.
So you mentioned that your son works with you, and what I hear, like the most communication happens between you and the client. How does your son participate in the business, and how do you plan to transition this business to him at some point and doing that something that you probably enjoy as well?
Sure. So our phones are connected, so he hears all the conversations that I'm doing, as well as all the, most of it is all texting. He's on all those texting, so he's getting that. And so he's going out to the jobs when I'm not there to make sure that the jobs are being done. He's 25 and he's still learning. Customers aren't completely related to him just because of the age difference, and that's where I come in. So I'll always be connected in that way. But he's really wanting to get more in operations, really work with the handyman, understand what's going on. So, and my plan obviously is in 3 or 4 years is to give him this business, and so this becomes his business online. I know my time is running out, so I'm going to actually do a plug for something else. So I am passionate about being a Christian. I have a men's Bible study. If you know a man who would like to come to our Bible study, it's over 20 years. We cover one chapter of the New Testament. We meet at Panera Bread right here, close by. Actually, right over there, close by. Every Friday morning at 6:45. We've been meeting for over 20 years. Bill's back there, my sponsor. And it's just a great thing. So if you know of a guy who would like to just come in, have a cup of coffee, there's 32 guys in the group. Usually we have 16 to 20, and it is incredible, this group. They're my brothers. I mean, in battle, they're awesome. I love them. But anyway,
I have a statement, or a comment I want to make. It's not a question. But Randy, I called Randy. They're doing a job for me now. It's been amazing. Everything he's saying here, man, he's solid on. He showed up. I got 3 quotes. He came, and even with the other guys there, he came and he showed up. He brought me one guy. The guy really, he didn't want to do it or couldn't do it, and then he brought another guy. It's been amazing dealing with Matt. He's dealt with the city. He did the permits. It's seamless. Great communication, great price, and I'm super happy. We're getting started, and I'm Mona Chavarria, it's always great when someone in high in the community is connected to people that they recommend, because one thing's for sure, like me, I'm not gonna fall back on my word, especially knowing that we're held accountable with, people that I think are high in the community, right? That have great reputation. So, I'm really grateful with the construction that we're doing. And it went past your threshold, so.
I call it the expert.
You're like, within an ounce, just give
Yeah.
it 2,000, that's a sweet spot,
Yeah.
right? We do have time for one more question, if anybody, okay, Karen?
So you don't have a handyman background. How are you assuring that what's being done under your company is?
Yeah, I don't have a handyman background per se, but I've built hundreds of restaurants for like Soladas. I built 95 restaurants for them, moving into Florida. And so I could sort of tell when things aren't right or when things are going well. And I'm still learning. I like to get on the job and really get down and understand what's going on and how they're doing it, just to make sure that it's done right. So, like dyeing a carpet, I didn't know anything about it. GPT knows everything about it. So I actually took about 30 minutes to learn how to dye a carpet. And so I'll actually do it this afternoon at 3. So we'll see how it goes.
So we have one last question for you, and it is, how can we as a community help you?
Really advice. I mean, I'm open to advice. I have 3 mentors that I ride with or I talk with, and I'm like, I know I'm older, but I want to learn. So I feel like I'm a student of whatever needs to, that I need to learn, whether to be a manager, to be a handyman, to be, someone. And I am really overwhelmed. I know it maybe sounds like I'm in control, but I'm not in control at all. It is crazy. But anyway, so any advice, guidance, I appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, we appreciate it.